open course for the virgin sea. 'Cause I've got to be free, free to face a life that's ahead of me. On board, I'm the captain, so climb aboard. We'll search for tomorrow on every shore, and I'll try, oh Lord, I'll try to carry on.
Sir Arcana.
Yes.
I hate snakes. person. A Berlin Wall will never fall.
Stupid Berlin Wall!
You cannot knock down a Berlin Wall.
Oh, communism!
We're here at Central High School, at the Central High School band director. What is your name, sir?
Ed Probst.
All right, can you give me an age range? About how old were you in the 80s?
Ages 1 to 10.
Sounds pretty nice. If you could describe the 80s in one word, tell me what would that word be?
Crap.
No, why would you say that?
Because the fashion was horrible, the music was mostly bad, and I'm glad they're gone.
So what about the fashion was not that great?
Skin-tight spandex neon clothing.
So what kind of fashion were you into in that time?
Skin-tight spandex neon clothing. T-shirts, jeans, absurdly loud fluorescent hats, big hair. Yeah, there's a lot of dumb stuff going on.
All right.
Can you tell me, sir, what sort of movies were popular around the time of the 80s?
The Back to the Future movies were pretty hip. I like them. I like the Star Wars films.
How many times did you see Return of the Jedi in theaters? Be honest now.
Oh, in theaters? I probably only saw it like once.
Only.
But I saw
Did you
it-
dress up for that?
No, I was like 4.
Oh, okay. So your parents didn't dress you up?
Mm, Sure, yeah, they did. No, dude. No, but my parents were like the first people to get the VCR, and I think they got the VCR just for the Star Wars movies. So I did see Return of the Jedi like 300 times.
Very nice.
Were there any particular events in the 80s that had an impact on you?
Berlin Wall came down in '89. That was pretty sweet. Metallica was born. Freddie Mercury died. John Lennon died.
Yeah, speaking of musicians, what sort of music were you into?
Oh, as a kid, I was just kind of whatever was on the radio. There was a great this was like the last decade of diverse radio, and like right when music acts started being for money instead of for art. So there was bands that were out there to be bands that were pretty cool, like Metallica, and yeah, that's the 80s music to me. Oh, and Van Halen. Sick.
Yes. So I have a quick question. Did your parents introduce you into the hippie subculture, or was that something you kind of gained as you went through the 80s?
Well, let's start with a disclaimer. I'm not really a hippie.
You're not a
I
hippie?
just
Don't be shameless. I mean, I can see the hair. You know, it kind of fits you.
I don't
is
like
pretty
haircuts. Yeah. I don't believe in paying someone else to cut me.
So
in the hair.
you were a hippie like all through the 90s too?
I could say at one point I was a hippie, and most of that was like 97 to 2001.
So I'm
How long do you plan on staying hippie?
Haven't been hippie for a while. So, -3 years.
-3 years.
Yeah. And to answer your previous question, no, my parents did not introduce me into the hippie culture. They were rather appalled, which was kind of the driving force behind hippiedom for a while. Is it really ticked off the parents?
Right, Mr. Probst, is there anything you'd like to add to contribute to our 3-minute time quota?
Let's see.
Shout out to all your hippies.
Cool
Think
stuff
they'd like to hear.
from the 80's. It was like Wacky Wall Rockers, Nintendo Entertainment System,
Yeah.
the old school one. What else was cool about the 80's? Yeah, not much.
Cool. Well, there you have it, straight from the Central High School stage. We have Mr. Probst here. This is Simon Graham and George Curie signing out.
Peace.
All right, we're here at Central High School, and we're about to interview Mr. Benjamin Gorman. Tell me, Mr. Gorman, how old were you during the 80's?
During the 80's, I was between the ages of 3 and 13.
3 and 13, all right, good stuff. If you could describe the 80's in one word, what would that word be?
Neon.
Yes. Did you ever partake in those neon fashions?
Not entirely willingly. I was pretty young, but yes, my parents bought neon clothing for me. So the big thing, I've always been into dark colors. It's not a big shock. But a lot of the shirts that I was wearing in the 80's were things like a black T-shirt with neon writing on it, or I had neon shoelaces at one point on some shoes I wore. So yes, I partook in neon fashion.
All right, were there any other fashions that you particularly liked during the 80's?
Let's see. I managed to avoid the mullet, which was so popular it wasn't even considered like a trashy kind of a hairstyle. Bono from U2 had a mullet. Like everybody had mullets, and so I managed to miss out on that. I had a mohawk back when I had hair.
So how long was your hair back then?
Well, let's see. In the 80's, it wasn't particularly long because I was still a kid. I was pretty young. By high school, I had long hair, but in the 80's, I had a little mohawk at one point.
Was that your parents doing that?
No, my parents allowed it though. Their kind of policy was as long as my grades were good, I could have whatever hair I wanted. But as soon as my grades slipped, then they got control of the hair. So, which is a good policy.
That makes sense.
All right, what sort of movies were you into during the 80's?
Oh, I liked UHF. It's a great movie, Weird Al Yankovic's film. I had a lot of fun with that one. I was a kid, so things like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie, The Three Amigos, great movie if you've ever seen that one. It's well worth your time.
Were you ever into Star Wars?
I am a huge Star Wars fan, as people may have noticed from my classroom. Love Star Wars. Spent a lot of time playing with everything from Star Wars action figures to Star Wars toys.
So you saw Return of the Jedi in theaters?
Absolutely. Return of the Jedi in theaters. Saw Empire in theaters too.
How many times?
81, I think. Not many, because I was still young, so I was on my parents' dime. But one of our big, new things in the 80's was we got a VCR. This was a really good deal, VCR. You could watch movies at home. You didn't have to go to the theater. And we recorded the original Star Wars on TV, commercials and all, but still, we could watch it then over and over. And I think I watched